Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to a very special Ask Me Anything, where you can ask me anything you like about home recording, about gear, about whatever it is that's on your mind. Should we get started? Let's do it. Yols, my name is Pete. This is Studio Live today, and we're brought to you today by me. Yeah, despite the fact that I'm wearing my DistroKid t-shirt that they were kind enough to send to me, they are a sponsor of the channel. They're not sponsoring this particular video, but of course, if you are releasing your music, you'd be crazy not to use DistroKid, and there is a link down in the description. So it sounds like I'm talking about DistroKid, but I did want to point you to my gear guide as well over here at studiolivetoday.com/gear if you are in the market for any gear for your home recording, for your mobile recording. If you need a new iPad, a new iPhone, an audio interface, a microphone, a guitar, doesn't matter what it is, head over to studiolivetoday.com/gear and all my recommendations are there. You can see here, here's my current setup. Look, it says July. I'm still using the same stuff here in August. It's okay. So all of the gear that I use from, like I say, from my audio interfaces to my instruments, to my MIDI keyboards, to my adapters and all the fun cables and everything there. And then there's a bunch of sections there that tell you all of the other things that I use. So it goes into a huge amount of detail there. All about that. So I hope you are doing well. It is a Friday morning here in sunny Adelaide, South Australia. It's almost springtime too. It's feeling like the spring is in the air, and despite some of the less than desirable things going on around the world, it is nice to get a little bit of that sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows that we've got going on. Sorry, that's me just trying to get my iPad set up here in the background. That's clunking around there. I realised that we might get some mobile questions, and I didn't actually have my iPad plugged in and ready to go here. I do have some questions that have come in through the last couple of days that we'll be talking about, but we are interactive. And because we got folks who are here live, if you do have your own questions, then you can throw them right here. And you can join folks like Fallen, like Thomas Christ, like Mojo Jam Tracks, like MN Keeper, like Elvia, and like Clayton Von Kluge, Miss Jade Star, and I think I saw our friend Deep Gravity jump on in there. Hope you are doing well. Yeah, any questions you have or anything you just want me to rant on, feel free to just put rant topic request and then just put it there and we'll talk about it. Joe Glenn's here as well. Hello to all of you. For those that wonder how we do these live streams and how I'm on a bunch of different places at once, because you could be watching me on YouTube, you could be watching me on Facebook or Twitch or over on Periscope, we do it using StreamYard. And StreamYard just allows you to go live to a whole bunch of places. Cool thing about StreamYard is there is a free plan. You can do up to 20 hours per month, I believe it is. And the only drawback of that is that it puts a little branded logo in your corner like that. So if you can tolerate having a little duck in your corner, then you get 20 hours for free. If you upgrade to the plan that I use here, you get things like HD. So I'm here in 1080p, which means you can check the pores and, you can check the wrinkles in the forehead and see that in a bit better detail. And we get stereo audio, which is super important because when we're playing music, when I jump in here and want to play my song, shameless self-promotion here, but if I wanted to play my song Murdering Time, you can hear that beautiful stereo delay in all of its glory. Yeah. So, the gear that I use here, again, because we talked about gear before, the gear that I use to do all this is my Zoom Live Track. So, the Zoom Live Track, I get asked a lot about live streaming and what you should use. Now, you can use an audio interface. You can use a lot of different things. I know our friend Jade Star has just got a new little mini mixer. So, there's some cool little USB mini mixers. Jade, if you want to throw the link to that one, throw your affiliate link to that little mini mixer in the chat here, because people may be interested in that. But if you're setting yourself up for doing podcasting or for doing live streams like this, what I recommend is this sucker here, the Zoom Live Track L8. It's gone up in price. Well, there you go. Okay, it is in stock, but it used to be $399. It is now $449.99. So. There you go. I usually I'll say, things have gone down in price. But look, you can still get this mixer bundle here with your headphones and your microphone. So that might be a good deal for only $539 since this is up at $449. Let's just do a quick price check, shall we? This is the good thing about the gear guide. I've got your prices here for Sweetwater, but also for your Amazon US. So let's check it out at Amazon and see. Yeah, $449. They've gotten together. So I don't know what that's to do with. Is that to do with the shortage of chips and the shortage of components and the fact that a lot of this gear is starting to be a little bit more scarce? I don't know. but it's definitely cost of living. Maybe I don't know what prices are usually not going up with this sort of electronic stuff, but yeah, there you go. There is Jade's link as well. So if you go to gear.howtoapponIOS.com, that is Jade's gear guide because. We talked about it yesterday, actually. If you missed the show, I had a great show with Sarah Newen from Sarah Newen Online. So Sarah is a live streaming professional, and we did a creator town hall last night, and we talked about a lot of cool things, including how to make money as a creator. And one of the things we talked about was affiliates, and you'd be surprised how effective that can actually be. Did you realize here that I used the exact same pictures with a slightly different background between the 9 episodes between 14 and 23 when Sarah was on there. So there you go. I'm revealing behind the curtain of my secrets. So yeah, do check that one out because we talked about affiliates. And if you're there saying, but Pete, I've only got 10 or 50 or 100 people that care about what I have to say, you only need to make like a handful of sales. Jade might remember, I think it's like 3 or 5 sales in the first 3 months. So if you set yourself up just a simple list of gear and then you start sharing that around, if you're using it and recommending it and you're recommending other people buy stuff, are you the sort of person everyone goes to and asks you about stuff? Have a list of the gear you use. Doesn't have to just be musical instruments. I've got things on there like the mouse and keyboard that I use. I love this. I've forgotten the name of it now, but I love this new Logitech keyboard that I'm using here. I've forgotten the model number. It's like the MX800 or something. It is awesome. And I need to update my gear guide because I'm going to start recommending that people use this. Look, it's so cool. It can use 3 different devices and you can just switch between them. So I can have this with my Mac and my PC and my iPad and just flick between them. It's very cool. Realize that I'm showing my name there, and I'm doing this by myself. So why don't we take off the name display? That's a bit weird. Let's get into questions, shall we? We've got some starting to come on through. So if you do have a question, do exactly what our friend Lloyd has done here, which is put the word question in the front. Can you please address the serious allegation by Patrick Baird that you are grumpy? See, what goes on behind the scenes? I know it looks, if you don't know Patrick Baird, by the way, he is the proprietor of the Garageband guide. I think he doesn't like me. Well, I think he thinks I'm grumpy because he's slowly trying to look more and more like me. All he needs to do is add an extra like 15, 20 kilos, but look at that. Look at that. Got the hair. We've got the beard. Yeah, he needs to lose the glasses. Maybe he needs to change to some contacts. But I think that's why Patrick is grumpy, because he's desperately trying to look as much like me as possible, and it's taking him a long time to do so. But no, Patrick has been here on the show a lot. If you put the GarageBand guide and my name in there, you'll be able to see some of the cool things. So we did the most recent one here. It's been a while, about 7 months ago. We did this one, which was Mac or iPad in 2021, and we did a bit of a breakdown comparison. We spent an hour going back and forth talking about the different reasons you may want to choose a Mac over an iPad. And to answer your question, Lloyd, yeah, when we get off the show, we're actually enemies, mortal enemies. So we look like we're having a good time and yucking it up. But yeah, those jokes really do cut deep. Yeah, we do take it very seriously. Cheers. I got some, Lloyd totally dropping the scandal. I've got some merch news coming up too. There you go. I don't do a lot with my merch. It's all been very basic for a while, but I've got some pretty big merch news for you, for YML fans, because as we all know, sharing is caring and Sharon is Karen. Wolf Light, good day or evening, everyone. Hello to you, and to Sean Chandler as well. G'day to you. Hashtag GrumpyGate. Elvia says, I just found your channel and love it. Thank you. Looking forward to learning from you. I will check the videos. Need to learn a lot. Yeah, check the links down below. Depending what you're looking to learn, there's different playlists and things. So if you're learning GarageBand, there's heaps of GarageBand tutorials here. And there's my new and noteworthy, a good place to start, by the way. I'll put a link to it here. And if you're a creator, I recommend doing something similar. Let's just see if I can come in here to my playlists. New and noteworthy. Here it is. So I have this set up. So on my main page, at the very top, I've got this, and this changes from time to time. So, and you can see it actually needs, let's update it here on the fly, shall we? Because it's got, look at this, it's got the backlight bounce sound pack as the new and noteworthy. Well, that needs to go away. So let's remove this here. But this is kind of like my best of, yeah. A lot of it is related to GarageBand, but there's a bit about songwriting and things in here. So we've got GarageBand, the mixing basics there, how to EQ, how to share and export in GarageBand, my 10-minute loop challenge there, connect connecting USB stuff using an audio interface, plugins and effects, GarageBand strings, bass, vocals, and this 10 new GarageBand sound packs. So this is the one that needs to go to the top. So we'll just do a bit of quick editing here, get rid of that backlight bounce, and we'll put this to the top because that didn't work. I went too high. Come on up. Just drop you there for now, and now go the rest of the way. There you go. So if you've never played around with this, it's a good idea to do this because if we just jump over here for a moment, I will go just to my actual page, because when people land on your page, if new folks like LV are checking you out, you want to put your best foot forward, right? So my page, when someone comes and visits it, where do we need to go here? I need to go there as someone would go to there. So let's open up sorry, you can't see this behind the scenes. I'll open an incognito window. Another good tip for you is if you want to see what other people are seeing and you don't want it to be tarnished by you being logged in, go to an incognito window and then come on in. So this is what people are going to see if they come here. So the first thing I want them to see is, am I live right now? Because if someone comes to my channel now and I'm live, I want them to be able to jump in. Now we have upcoming live and actual live, which is a little bit clunky because it puts the same thing twice. So maybe I need to change that and only have the upcoming live, because if I have the upcoming live, and if I'm live, it'll put that as live like that. You know what I mean? So we've got two of those there. But then the very first thing I have here is this, new and noteworthy. So if someone comes to your channel, you want to have a playlist right there at the front, and you can customize your channel in your settings here in YouTube. I've shown that before. Or you can just search how to customize YouTube channel, and you can come in here and actually change things around. So you can add, so you can see here, I've got new and noteworthy there, upcoming live streams, so people can realize that I've got the Your Music Live happening tomorrow. I've got my happy hour, and then I've got GarageBand Weekly coming up, 88, special edition, 88. Then my GarageBand iOS Essentials playlist, which is another one that's got a lot of stuff. My shorts are in there. I've only done a very small number of shorts. Mobile recording essentials, popular uploads. So you can set that, and down the bottom here, my recommended channels: Creative Source, GarageBand Guide, Mr. Dan Baker, Songwriting Studio with Dean Davis, and the one and only Jade Starr. And Thomas Christ is there too. Sorry, Thomas, you're on like page 2. But it's a good way to make sure that people can discover your stuff when they're coming into your channel. So cheers for that. Quick drink, and then we'll continue on. Sorry, I'm a bit behind on the chat now, so we'll scroll on down. Yeah, there's Sarah Newen's channel. Thank you, Jade, for sharing that one. Who have I missed and haven't said g'day to? 25 kilos maybe. Gary Hubbs throwing it down, right? I know. It is true, Jade. You have met me, and we did eat noodles and drink beer. We drank Asahi and ate delicious noodles at my favourite noodle place here in Adelaide, which is called Dragon Noodle. It's actually in the Adelaide Casino of all places, but it is some of the most delicious, authentic Asian noodles you can get around Adelaide. Hello, Abu. Do you know how long it takes for DistroKid to get a song on YouTube Content ID? Put my song through, but I still don't see a claim or info with other videos in it. I'm probably the wrong person to talk to here because I don't actually use or potentially recommend Content ID for sharing stuff. So I don't actually know, because what it has to do, so if you're not familiar with Content ID, okay, we'll come over to my channel here, Pete Johns, and we'll search out Content ID. I've done videos about these, so if you want to learn about what Content ID is all about, there's a couple of videos on here about YouTube copyright and Content ID. When you release on DistroKid, there is an option. We'll jump over to DistroKid and I'll show you what I mean. There is an option to actually release with Content ID. So down the bottom here, when we get to this, we can actually add this one here. So you can add the YouTube Content ID, and it says, get notified and paid if your music is ever used in any YouTube videos. We'll add this single to YouTube Content ID database and continually scan for matches. When your music's detected in any YouTube video, you'll be notified, and ad revenue will automatically go to you instead of the person who uploaded the video. So there's a couple of things here. First of all, it's got to get into YouTube Content ID database, and then it's got to actually get flagged and matched. I'll show you at the other end of how it actually looks, just for those that are interested. So short answer is, I don't really know because I've not actually been on that side of it. But if I go to Your Music Live, let's go back to Your Music Live episode 61, which is last week's Your Music Live, because I'll be able to take you behind the scenes here and show you in my analytics exactly what happens behind the scenes when you get a copyright claim, in case you're interested. It's gone to a weird place. Hang on. Where am I? It's asking me to edit in the studio. I didn't mean for it to go here. just hold the line a moment. I've gone to a weird place, the old YouTube studio over here. I don't know if you've ever been in here, but yeah, I'm here in this YouTube studio section, so I didn't want to go there. So we'll go back to YouTube. And if I go into my YouTube creator, YouTube studio, I'll be able to have a look at this. Because what actually happens is when you've got a show, when you've got a video, so I do my Your Music Live show each week. And what'll happen is as soon as I finish that show, there'll be some that are automatic. So YouTube are scanning that as it's happening. So they're scanning that video, and as soon as they identify it and it's in their database, it gets a copyright claim that comes straight on through. So here is one that I prepared earlier. In fact, this will be more fun. I'll go to the copyright claim and status of my happy hour that I did last week. So I did a bunch of 70s tunes, and here you can see I did Xanadu, I did Layla, I did Rock and Roll All Night, I did Stuck in the Middle, I did Bohemian Rhapsody. Sometimes you get weird ones like this. Apparently, I did a cover of Ceylon Samat Sea. Yeah? Did I do that? I don't recall, but apparently I did. And what you can do is you can actually expand these out and see what it is. So I'm not going to play it because I don't want it to get another claim if I play that here, but I could I could play that section and find out what song I actually played during that section and see what it is. And what you can do here is you can select your actions, you can trim out the section, replace the song, mute the song, etc., or you can dispute it. So if I actually had the rights, I could dispute it. So let's come right back around to Abu's question. If you've released a song on DistroKid, you've ticked the YouTube Content ID, it's been released to YouTube Music, it then gets added to the database, and then it gets scanned against. But keep in mind that this is because I did these videos like straight away. So if as soon as you release a video, it'll run those checks, but it also goes back in time. So there may be people that have used that song in the past that didn't get a Content ID claim, and now you've released it with Content ID, they will eventually get that claim. So do keep that in mind as well, that it doesn't happen instantly unless they've just released the video, because it's constantly going back and rechecking. So I've got these copyright claims here. What'll probably happen is over the next week, because I did this show about 5 days ago, over next week, if they find other songs that are matches, it'll continue. So, and it's a little bit annoying because if you release a video where you've used a song and it hasn't been claimed, and then someone releases it in the future, it can get claimed posthumously, kind of. Does that make sense? So yeah, sorry I can't answer your question directly. I do have a DistroKid FAQ if you go to studiolivetoday.com/DistroKid, and there is a bunch of questions and answers in there, including how to actually get in touch with DistroKid. So if it's taking longer than you think, if it's already been a couple of weeks, maybe reach out to DistroKid, ask and make sure that it's all gone well. Hello, Lloyd D. Good job at dancing around the issue. Yeah, I know, right? I did. I danced around the issue of that. A question from Clayton Von Kluge. How can I install new packs on my iPads? It seems mundane and trivial, but I'm stuck. When the packs come out, my iPad was offline, for lack of a better explanation. So the thing is that they should be there. If you are, we'll get the iPad going on, shall we? So let's drop that. Let's load up Reflector. So I use a bit of software called Reflector 4 to beam my iPad from its position down here onto my screen. So I will load up Reflector. I will send it over to Pete's Mac Mini. Just going to close out over here of that YouTube. And then this should pop right up, which it has done now. And we'll jump in here and take a look. So if you're having issues here, we're going to jump into Garageband. Grab my mouse. I've got a second mouse here, another Logitech. I need Logitech to sponsor the channel. I use enough of their gear. So we'll go into GarageBand here. The thing is, if you've got the latest version of iOS and the latest version of GarageBand, it will just automatically have downloaded these. If you're in your sound library, we'll go to the track view. If you go to your sound library and you whack your microphone, go to your sound library, they'll just be there. You'll have these new things here and you'll be able to download them. Why do I have these? What is this? Update. Hello. Has anyone seen this? What's this all about? We've got updates to a few of these packs, to the Oakfelder, the Selection, and the Watch the Sound pack. Any others? No, just those three. What's changed? Let's see if there's anything here in the description that tells us what's changed. 200 Apple loops, 6 drum beat sequences, 35. So I wonder what's actually updated. If anyone's got any insights into this, let us know. So there you go. Sometimes it's cool to check this. Excuse me. So there you go. I've never seen that update logo on a pack. So, and look, it's probably something super non-exciting. Like maybe there was a loop in there that wasn't the right one and they've just corrected it. But I don't think it's a bunch of new content, but I could be totally wrong. Maybe it is new content. I'll have to go back and check. and see if these numbers match what they were before. It looks about the same, so I'd imagine it's probably a bug fix and stability improvements. There was probably a loop in there that was supposed to be in C minor and they put it in D minor and someone complained or something. I don't know. But to answer Clayton's question, yeah, just need to make sure. And look, if it's not working, turn it off and on and log out, log back in. They're the main things. So when you're here on an iPad, if you've got some issues going on, close all of your apps, shut it down, turn it back on, and try again. The other thing you can do is go into your settings, log out of your Apple ID account, log back in. That sometimes just triggers it to go, oh, okay, I'll just update a bunch of stuff because you logged out and you logged back in. So that's a couple of tips if you're running into problems with getting the packs. And then also make sure that you go to your settings, that you've got iOS version 14.7.1, I think is the latest version, and that you have also gone to the App Store and you've checked out GarageBand and have updated to GarageBand version 2. I've forgotten now, 2.3.11. I can't even remember the GarageBand, but 2.5, the latest one. How do I copy a created loop track and be able to use it later in the song? How do I copy a created loop track to use it later? In GarageBand, let's jump in here. So if you've created a loop, it depends on what type of loop you're using. So loops come in different shapes and sizes, excuse me. Leaps and loops. All right, so it says we're using AirPlay. We'll plug in here so we come over onto our audio interface so that you're going to hear the audio. You can see there I've connected it up there through my adapter and it's about to say, yes, we can hear you, Johns. So there's a couple of ways to use loops here. If you're using Apple loops, yes, I know we're connected. If you're using Apple loops, if we bring one in here, like a regular Apple loop, it's just an audio file. So if we've got it here and it's like 2 bars, you can just leave it there, even if you've got it muted and you're not using it. All you need to do is tap it again, and copy it. And then if you want to use it later on in the project, you just paste it into wherever you want it. And the same thing flies with any of your MIDI loops as well. So if you're grabbing a MIDI loop, like my favorite Latin rock piano, and you've got something like this. Yo-yo. Very cool sound. Then what you need to do is, you've got your 4-bar loop like that. You can just leave this here, and then if you're using it elsewhere, you just copy it and then paste it wherever you want it to have it later. So if you're saving something for later, I do this all the time. I say I've got a sound and I'm like, I'm not sure where I want this to go. I'll normally just put it on a track, mute out that track, create the rest of my project, and then come back and just harvest the loop from whatever track I've stored it in. So even if you're not using something at the time, you can just leave it there and then mute the track out and then come back and check it later. And you'll be golden, good to go. Elvia says, nice distro kit. I have my beats there. Check them out. Yeah, exactly. Get your music out. By the way, good segue. Thank you for the segue. I know you didn't intend to, and you may not even be aware of the existence of this particular show, but do not forget that tomorrow we have the Your Music Live show, which, and again, I'll use this to lead into some news a bit later, but if you go to your YouTubes and you type in Your Music Live, 62 in particular, because that's tomorrow's episode, then you'll be able to check this one out. Your Music Live, and you can set yourself a reminder and jump on in to the show. Now, the cool thing about this show is it's all about you. Excuse me. I said how good it was that spring's coming. Went for a walk this morning, taking the kids to school, and the pollen's in the air, and I'm like coughing and spluttering. And I'm like, here we go. It's springtime. I love the weather in spring, don't love the pollen. So Your Music Live here, what you do is you come over here, you set your reminder, you hit the like button because that's a cool thing to do. And down here in the description, you can not only save yourself 7% off a DistroKid if you want to do that, but if you've got a track you want considered, just click on this link here. What this is going to do is open up this form, just a very standard Google form. All you need to do is tell me your name, your artist name, your email address, your link to your song. So if you've got a song on YouTube or SoundCloud or somewhere online, and then just 1 or 2 sentences. Now, some people put one word, they're just like Firebeat or Yabra, and some people put like an essay, like they put multiple paragraphs. 1 or 2 sentences is ideal. That will help out. And make sure you press yes that you agree, because if I'm playing your song, I don't want to do it if you don't want me to play it. If you've got copyright content ID on it, that's fine too. The reason that I can do this show and that keep the lights on is that DistroKid actually sponsor it. So the reason that I wear DistroKid on my chest is that they support independent music by supporting the show, which is super cool. So if you have your own music and you want to have it considered for a future episode, now keep in mind we're generally running between 2 and 4 weeks behind because I get so many submissions. So if we're not getting there straight away, then don't stress. You'll be on the list, and we'll get there eventually. So you do need to be patient. If you come in and spam the chat and say play my beat, play my beat, play my beat, it's fire, you'll get shown the door by the moderators pretty quickly. So don't do that. Hey, it's Brad Example. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Good job. I'm just going to scroll on down and see if we've got anything. There you go. Oh, yeah, we're sponsored by my GarageBand course. Exactly. I was sponsored by the Gear Guide, and you can check out the GarageBand course as well. By the way, thank you to Russ and Joe and Jade and folks. We were chatting yesterday, and we realized that when you go to my web page at studiolivetoday.com, I had my course here front and center. Look at this. The very first thing you see is, hey, look, you can buy my GarageBand iOS Beginner's Guide. Yes, I'm already a member of the mailing list. I need to fix that too. I'll close and accept these cookies. So the first thing you get at studiolivetoday.com is, oh, here's my course. It's $10. It's about GarageBand. And my friend Russ, who actually bought the course yesterday, cheers, Russ, appreciate that. He's like, Pete, when I click it, guess what? Nothing happens. And the link was dead. It was not working. As you can see, I have corrected it. The link now works perfectly. It'll drop you straight into here. And again, just $10. You can use PayPal to pay for it. You can then view it on your mobile device or your desktop. And it is 5 hours of hand-picked gear. So if you're starting out learning GarageBand and you want to get a bit of a head start, yeah, you can go through the YouTube channel. You can go to the playlists on the YouTube channel. You can find all the stuff. But if you don't have the time to faff about with that, this is 5 hours of hand-picked gear, all about, what it is, connecting, starting a new song, doing your recordings, doing your mixing, doing your mastering. It's all in there. Everything from start to finish about recording in GarageBand. It's only $10, and you'll be supporting me and keeping the lights on here if you do it. So thank you, Jade, for putting that out there. Let's see. We're going to scroll on down. Yes, Dragon Noodle is AAA+. It's delicious stuff. I think Jade had the Nazi Goring, which is good there. I had, what did I have? I had these Singapore noodles, which are also delicious. How to promote music effectively on Spotify. Sanjeev, this is something that I'm going to be discussing through Songtember. So if you don't know what Songtember is, that is our yearly challenge that we do every September, where the challenge is very simple. It is for you to create, record, and release a song in the month of September. And this time around, we are going to focus a little more because I've never been an expert on the whole promotional side. Despite the fact that my previous day gig was sales and marketing, I don't do a whole lot with my own music because my main goal and aim on this channel is to get you to the point where your music is out there and you've actually released it, or you've at least let go, you're sharing your music. I'm getting a lot of questions like this, and I know Jade's doing similarly on her channel. I want to start talking a little bit more about some of the promotional tools, some of the things that you've got to do. Now, DistroKid, they do actually help you out. And again, sounding like an ad for DistroKid, but that's tomorrow. They do sponsor tomorrow's show. Today it's not, but again, because I use them and because I recommend them, under their goodies here, they've got their promote yourself. So you can use things like your hyperfollow, your landing pages. They've got free mini videos that you can create and meme videos that you can create and share on your Instagram and your Facebook and other places. Their Visi video generator is actually really cool. If you want a quick and effective way, it does cost you, but a quick and effective way to make a little music video for your song, you can do that. Promo cards are super cool. There's things like Social Phone and Upstream. So there's a bunch of stuff in here that you can try out. These promo codes are actually dope. There you go, I said dope. I was talking with Sarah last night and we were saying that I'm way too old to use the word dope unless it's ironically. So if I've got a song here, I want to say, come in here to my tune, No Apologies. I can create a promo card. And what this is going to do is it's going to give me all these different options. So there's my album cover for No Apologies. And I can come down and like, oh, which one looks cool here? I kind of like this CD one. So you can actually just click on this. It'll download that JPEG. You can share this on your Instagram stories, and it's just got really nice things available now on DistroKid and where you can get it and all that kind of goodness. So, oh, look, that's a cool one. The Billboard one's cool. So, yeah. So there's some cool stuff in here that you can do. In terms of a YouTube channel, if you're looking for someone to talk about this sort of stuff. Damien Keys Promote. That's what I've searched there. So Mr. Damien Keys is my go-to when it comes to promotion. You can see there he's got a bunch of videos about releasing singles, how to get viewers and how to get listeners. And he's not one of these snake oil salesman people that are going to just tell you to, buy views and buy subscribers. And look, he'll admit that sometimes you do have to spend money to make money. You do have to spend money to promote, but he talks a lot about some of the free ways that you can actually promote your stuff using some of the tools that you have at your disposal. So, so he's a smart dude, and when I get people asking about that, I send them his way. The House of No YouTube Content ID. I won't rant on it. If we have time later, maybe I'll rant on it a little bit more. Sorry, I didn't know exactly how long it takes, but it's a good question. Because it's probably outside of DistroKid's control. It's probably however many requests YouTube are getting at a time. Because I'm sure there's some sort of way that it's processed through YouTube. I'm not sure. Pete isn't always on time. I'm always on time, aren't I? Close enough. Usually within a minute or two of starting time. Hey Joe, you're Joe. Hello Joe Gamlin. Hope you are doing well, my friend. Who else have I missed here? I think I've caught up. I'm catching you. Hello Samuel. Thank you for being here. I do like these more relaxed streams where we just go off on weird tangents. Joe says I'm constantly having to randomly shut my iPad down to make it behave. Yeah, it gets a bit clunky. I must admit, since I've had this, that's YouTube. Since I've had this, the iPad Pro 2020, it has been super reliable. And I think it's because I got a bunch of space on it, and I've always kept it with plenty of free space. So I do think that the more storage space and the less clutter, the less stuff you can keep on here. Like if we come in here and we look at my iPad storage, I think I've got the 512 gig model, and I think I've used like 100 gigabytes of it. We'll find out here in a moment. Yep, exactly that. So I'm not using a whole lot of that, but I know that when I had, say, my 32 gigabyte iPad Air 2, whenever I got up over even about 20 or 25 gigabytes of stuff, it seemed to just slow down. I think Apple, behind the scenes, uses a lot of that memory for kind of swap files and storage. If you don't know what that means, don't worry, but just heed the advice that the more storage space you can have available, especially on older iPads that don't have as much RAM or random access memory, then the better. Because that's when I see things go wrong, is when you're at the edge and you've only got a couple of gigabytes there. There you go, Thomas Christ. YML tomorrow, and there is the link, and you can indeed submit your track. Am I getting the iPhone 13 when it comes out? No, I'm not. Interestingly, I put this question over on my channel. I put this question because Rene Ritchie, if you don't know Rene Ritchie, he is a cool YouTube dude, and he put a question out saying, how often do you update your iPhone? Now, if you've never been to the community tab, if you go to my channel that we looked at before, up the top here, there's this community tab that you can go to. You can also go there on your mobile device, so you can check this out. So we'll talk about that one in a minute. But Rene Ritchie said, here's what's coming with the iPhone 13, and a link to his video. Are you planning to upgrade? How often do you upgrade? I said every 3 years, and I'm the average. So 31% of people said every 3 years, only 15% do it every year, and like 12% have 5+ years. Now, keep in mind, this is Rene Ritchie's audience. When I started looking at the comments that we got on this question, a lot of people are similar to me. They're either, and I think Patrick at the Garageband Guide had a good point, a lot of people only update their phone because their phone carrier will just let them do that every year. And unfortunately, that means that they're probably paying a bit of an upgrade tax, because when you pay those monthly fees on a phone plan, you're usually getting a much worse plan, and you're paying a lot more for that phone over time than if you just bought it outright. But for budgeting, I understand why people do it. I even do it myself. I use Vodafone now, who it's literally just a payment. So they just take the total amount of a phone and chop it into 24 bits, and then you pay it off over 2 years. So that's how I buy my phone. That's how I bought my iPhone 12 Pro, and that's what I'll do in the future. So will I get an iPhone 13 when it comes out? Probably not. Why? Because we're at the point now where we're kind of at the technology end game here. It took me a long time to go from the iPhone 10 to the iPhone 12. I completely skipped the 11. There was not enough upgrade between the 10 and the 11 to make me jump in. I only got the 12 because my 10 was starting to get a bad battery. Like, it was literally that I'd had it for 3 years and it was starting to not last the day. Now, the 12 doesn't last the day either. That's a whole different story because I'm a very heavy user. I use this to tether to another phone and to tether to my iPad, and I do a lot of walking, so I'm always out and about. So I'm still having battery issues, but I just always carry portable batteries. So yeah, short version is no, not going to update. Not going to update. Jade, so new drum kits and synths in the producer pack updates. Okay, so new drum kits and synths. That's pretty cool. 4 of the packs have updates. Nice. Okay, didn't know that. That's very cool. I watched Creative Source last night because Jade was on a mean version of YML Tough Love. Yeah, so if you haven't checked that out, again, I'm giving you homework to do, so much homework, but do check out our friend Mike, who is doing exceptionally well with his Creative Source channel. And here it is. This was the show from last night, which was Featured Artist Live, where where Mike had Jade, and I've forgotten who else was it with you there. Let's just come to the show more. It was Jack. So Jade and Jack. It was all the J's that were there. Jade and Jack were on the show. So if we just skip through here, there they are, talking all about music. So what Gregory is saying there is that Mike focuses a little bit more on giving production tips and talking about what was done well, what could be improved upon. YML, we do a bit of that, Your Music Live, but it's not quite as focused on that. It's more about sharing the music and pointing out, look, if there's something that's really noticeable, so if I'm listening to something and I'm like, man, this is a great track, but I just can't hear the vocals, then we'll mention that because we want to help people out, but it's not about picking apart every little bit of a song. And look, neither is Mike's show, but yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. It's the tough love version of that. Robert Kennedy, hello. As you know, I write all my music on the iPhone 11. I always use that phone mic to record my vocals. I want to upgrade. What is the best mic you can buy that will still allow me to use headphones? Let's just work through this. I always use a phone mic to record. I want to upgrade. What's the best mic you can buy that will still allow me to use the headphones? So do you want to upgrade the phone, or do you want to upgrade and add a microphone that will let you use headphones? The stepping stone one that I recommend is to look for a USB mic, or even the iRig HD mic, which can plug straight in. What you basically want is, because with the iPhone 11, it doesn't have a headphone jack, as you know. So if you're recording using the actual built-in mic, it can be a pain because you can't really monitor your audio properly. So a USB microphone, or a microphone that plugs into the lightning port, is a good option. So I tend to go for, if we go back to my gear guide over here, in the wrong spot, hang on. We'll just have to go back to studiolive.today.com/gear, where we've been here before. My go-to USB microphone to get started with is this little sucker here, the Samson Meteor. This thing punches so far above its weight. It's a $70 microphone, but what you'll see there is that it's got your gain dial there, and it's also got, when you're getting a USB mic, you want to make sure it's actually got a headphone jack. So with this one, you plug it in via USB. It goes directly into your Mac or your PC, or if you're using your iPhone, you will need the, say it with me folks, Lightning to USB 3 adapter to actually adapt it from USB into Lightning. So you'd need to grab one of these for like $70, and then if you grab the adapter, it's down here under Lightning adapter. You'd also need one of these, the Lightning to USB 3 adapter. So you'd spend just over $100, but that to me is the best upgrade if you're recording, especially if you're recording vocals or guitars or live instruments. The Samson Meteor, it punches above its weight. Now, you can then go forward and get something like the iRig Pro IO and then a separate microphone, but you're getting up in price there. The one of the easiest videos to check out here on the channel, if you're looking for that sort of thing, let's see if we can find it, Pete John's Gear 2021, because I did do a recent review, this one here. The home studio, the best budget gear for 2021. So I'll throw this right here in the chat for you now. Boom. So that's over there. So check that one out, Robert, because that might be a good place to start if you are looking for this sort of stuff. So thank you. Thank you for your question. We'll scroll on down. What happened if you hit reset GarageBand? So if you're having problems with GarageBand, you can reset it. I've got a video about it, so I won't go into detail here because I've talked about it a bunch. But if you go Pete John's GarageBand reset, I believe there's a couple of video. In fact, check out this video. the GarageBand errors video, how to fix problems in GarageBand iOS. I go through the reset option, I go through turning it off and on, I go through some of the settings and options you can try if you're having trouble. Yeah, Noodles and Beer, that should be the name of a band or something. I'd go to see Noodles and Beer playing live. Promotion is the hardest part of doing this stuff. Yeah, especially for a lot of us introverted creative types, we don't like tooting our own horn. It's weird when I see folks, again, that come onto Your Music Live and they're like, man, I'm the greatest producer of all time. My beats are so fire. Please play my beat. Because I'm like, this isn't the sort of people I usually hang around with. Usually it's the opposite. You have to pry it out of people. There's so many people that I've had to virtually beg them to submit a song for YML because they're just like, oh, my music's not that good. I don't really want to. I'm okay. I'll just put it out and see what happens. I'm like, no, dude, do that. Your music is awesome. It needs to be heard. So yeah, go and get yourself out there. And the thing is, and I say this a lot, if you are feeling that way, if you're like, oh no, I don't want to do this because it's going to come off all spammy and self-promoty, then you're probably not being spammy and self-promoty. Because you know what? The people who are spammy and self-promoty don't have the self-awareness to even understand that. Make sense? So if you're thinking about that, it means you have the humility to even think about it, and you're probably at like 10% spamminess, feeling like you're at 90%. You've probably got a big buffer zone to go. And that's why I've started, promoting my gear guide and promoting my merchandise and talking about the course that I put out there, because not because I want to say, yeah, my stuff's all the greatest, but because I think people will genuinely benefit from some of the things I'm putting out there. I'm proud of them. I'd make sure that they're not super spammy and don't charge you the earth for things. And I think it's all cool. So yeah, go for it. Yeah, Jade's got 4 specials on her channel throughout September on promotion, branding, bios. Yeah, bios are important. I've got a terrible bio. I need to improve it. Barry Smith, when I record in GarageBand for iOS, play my song back, I can't really hear my vocal that good. So what do I do to get my vocal loud? Vocals can be tough. I think Jade was interviewing Darren Anderson this morning and they were talking about vocals, and it's one of the toughest things to get right when you're recording a song is to get the vocals to sit in the mix. The couple of quick things that I do, and we don't have vocals here, but we have a piano, but just pretend this piano is a vocal, is compression is your friend. So learn about your compressor. There's tutorials here on the channel. You can learn about this. Learn about setting your compressor, because a compressor is basically like a volume dial that is doing automatic automation. So what a compressor does is, because when vocals get buried in your mix, it's because your voice is a dynamic instrument. So if you're singing loud in some parts and soft in others, you don't want to compress it down to here and just crush the crud out of it, but you want it to just do some light compression or even some moderate compression to push down those peaks and pull up, by using your mix and your gain increase here, pull up the overall level of your mix. So rather than, what a lot of people do is they just go, my vocals aren't loud enough, boom, and then their vocals are way too loud. And they're like, oh no, my vocals are too loud, boom. And then their vocals sit under the mix. Whereas using compression can actually just do that little bit of automation. You can also use actual automation. So I do this for a vocal. So say you're coming from a verse into a chorus, you'll generally want to up your vocal. So you can just add some automation points here and just increase it a few dB. And just do that when you're coming into your louder parts. Because coming into a chorus, your instruments are going to kick up. Sometimes you're adding distortion to guitars and things, and you do need a louder vocal in those parts. So compression and automation are probably the 2 biggest things. And there's a heap of videos here on the channel that you can check out all about those. Just search my name, Pete Johns Compression, Pete Johns Automation. You'll find a metric butt ton, which is of course slightly less than an imperial butt ton, but pretty good. Let's go back up. Oh, it did the scroll down thingy, so I may have missed a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna scroll back up. We got some spam, which is fine. Moderators take care of that stuff. Thank you, moderators. You're awesome. Let's continue on down. I don't know what. No, I won't rant on it. You know that it's weird. Like, why do people do it? Danny Fisher says, a song doing good on Spotify is 80% promo, 20% the song. What do you think about that? Do you think that's correct? Interesting question. I like it. Is promotion more important than the song? I wonder, for those that are watching on YouTube, which I know is most of you, let me just jump over here, because for a while there, YouTube had polls, and they may have actually removed, oh, no, they're back. They removed them for a while. I'm going to ask a poll here, and I'll just say, how do we phrase this? I'll just say, what percentage is promotion important compared to a good song when sharing on Spotify? We'll just call it on Spotify. And let's see what it can be. So we'll go, so 80%, is 80% the one? We'll give it 100%. So we'll see if people think 100%. We'll go 80%. That's 80% promotion. We'll go 60% promotion. We'll go, how many do options? We only get 4. So we'll go 40% or less. We'll see what this gets. So I'm going to ask the community here. We're going to throw that in there, and there you go. So I've said, what percentage is promotion important compared to a good song? So if you think promotion is 100% of it and the song's nothing, go 100%. And then if you think it's 80, as Danny suggested here, or 60, or 40 or less, be interested to know for the folks who are watching here live. And I'll give my opinion when we close out the poll. But excellent question, Danny. And if you're here live, do answer the question, poll question, all that sort of thing. Thomas Christ says, comment, not really a question, but I learned about a cool tip recently, the 80-20 bass rule. Your bass line should be about 80% root note and 20% complementary notes to make it stand out. This is great. This is an excellent rule. I've not heard it, but I would agree, because the best bass parts that I've ever created have been where it does sit around the bass note, the root note. If you're not familiar with that is, let's just say you're playing something in G. In fact, let's do an example of this. So what Thomas is saying with this, with your bass sound. So let's just, we'll bring this. So here's this piano. We'll turn up the volume. So let's just find the notes of this one. So if we come in here and we add a bass guitar, and you could use another sort of bass, but just because we've got a bass guitar here, oh, we're in the upright bass. All right, maybe we will go to a simpler bass to use here. Let's just go back to the Liverpool. Oh, we got the notes. All right, so we're in the major blues scale here. We'll just turn that off so that we can. So it looks like we're in like a C. We're in a C minor thing here. So what Thomas is saying, if I was going to write a bass line for this to go along with this piano, we could write a bass line like that, yeah. And that's using a lot. See how many times I use the root note of those chords? So it just hangs out on those root notes a lot. So if we turn this up and take a listen. So you're just getting some of that variation. If you were to do something, I like this, Thomas. I'm definitely going to be exploring this, because I like the concept of the whole 80%. Did this come from a video or someone else? Do we need to credit another creator on this? Because it's a very cool concept. So let's just do something that might be a mistake with this. If we were going to play something a little bit too intense, let's just do like this sort of. Now, apart from the fact that I hit the wrong note a whole bunch of times there, can you see how this is not really going to work in with this? So, and yet you can get some funky bass lines doing that kind of syncopated rhythm up and down, but more often than not, you want something more like this. Yeah, you want, because your bass is your engine room. You don't want your bass overpowering everything, unless you're a bass player, and then you probably do. But great comment. I like it, Thomas. Well done. Continuing on, yes, you can check out my gear recommendations over there. Rode USB mic, got a headphone jack on it. Yeah, so a lot of USB mics, there's only a couple. I think the blue Snowball Ice is one to avoid. That doesn't have a headphone jack. Most of them these days do. And there's my Garageband Errors music. How long is the wait time for YML right now? Yeah, it's anywhere. Most of the songs on the list are now in the month of August, but there's still some July holdovers. So we're probably going to do a little bit of extra time tomorrow just to get there. Band of Dylans, just wanted to drop by and give you a shout out. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for dropping on by. Scrolling on. Hello, compression, my old friend. Yeah, you definitely need some compression in your life. Gladys loves compression stockings. Yeah, right? Bit of compressions. Butt ton, exactly. Arse tonnage, totally. Thank you, Shine. I appreciate you. Thank you for dropping on by. I have a doubt on Ableton. It is possible to ask, except just keep in mind that I know virtually nothing about Ableton. If it's a generic question about panning, we can help you, but I've never used Ableton, so I'm unsure on that one. We'll get back to this one. So Jade reckons 60% promotion, 20% music, and 20% luck. Yeah, I probably should have put that it's not just the music, it's also the luck. Push the little daisies. What percentage would that have been? Come on, who doesn't love Ween? People remember that song? Point the little daisies and make them come up. Probably just got a copyright claim for that. Ween are just like straight onto it. They're like, we're getting that Daisies money, man. That was their big hit. Ween were actually a really good band. They had some other really cool songs, not just the Push the Little Daisies song. So there you go. Hello, Lone Wolf Echo. Bass and bass drum together are the heart driving. Yeah, exactly. And to continue on this one, again, because we'll build up a little bit of a Latin groove with this one. Yeah, you want your bass drum or your kick drum to also be doing the heavy lifting here. So if we were going to start creating some drums for this one. Now, with drums here in GarageBand, one of the first things I do is I turn the track settings and I get the velocity sensitivity down either off or low. We'll go with low just so we can get a little bit of velocity here. But if I was going to create a drum track for this one, like we were doing before, so again, you want your kick and your bass to play nicely together. Don't forget also, if you've never used the drummer follow feature, you want to check it out. If you want to cheat on this, if you want it to be a bit easier. So if we've got our Liverpool bass there and we wanted our drums to go along with that, if we hit the plus button here and we go to our drummer, scrolly, we go to our drummer here and we go acoustic drummer. And let's just get, Kyle, you're too played out, buddy. Sorry. I know. Kyle's virtual faceless children are not going to get any cash because I've got rid of him. So here's Nikki doing her drums. Those are funky drums, but they don't match the rhythm that we're going with. But guess what? We can turn on this follow button down the bottom here, and we can go follow our Liverpool bass, make sure it's the correct one, this top Liverpool bass, and look what it does. It adjusts all of our kicks and snares so that this drum will now sit in the pocket. Take a listen. How cool is that? So this is a great way to do this. If you're creating a song and you don't want your drummer, your auto drummer to sound just like I know Jaden and Darren were talking about this morning. You don't want your auto drummer to sound like everyone else's auto drummer. Do a custom bass line and then tell your drummer to follow your bassist. And then you're golden, right? You're good to go. So, yeah, there's another little mini tip there. And thank you, Deep Gravity, for the, not question, but suggestion. Tip, if you want something to be thicker sounding, duplicate it and detune it slightly. Yes, this is an absolute classic technique. Whoops, I opened the wrong thing there. This is an absolutely classic technique. I've actually done a video on it. I keep opening the wrong thing. I'm still not quite used to the Mac and how to actually get back to things when I've gone out of things. There we go. So we're over to here. So I did a video on this and I think it was called Pete John's If We Go Thick. Pete John's Thick. Thick vocals, maybe. Vocal thickening trick. Here it is. So I did this one a year ago, and it's exactly that. So you can use a process here where you duplicate out your vocals. Where it is. There's a few. Here it is. So you duplicate out your vocals, and you use the pitch shift within GarageBand to slightly tweak it. Look at that face. You use the pitch shift to slightly tweak it, and you can get yourself a really good sound. Now, this is not my own original idea. This came from... if we come down here, Warren Hewitt. So Warren Hewitt did the original Pro Tools version. My man Mike over at Creative Source, there it is, Mike's Cakewalk by BandLab version, and then I did a GarageBand version. So it's not a new trick by any stretch, and it's not my own trick by any stretch, but I just happened to show you how to do it in GarageBand. So yes, if you've got vocals that are sitting too thin, as well as compression and automation that I talked about before, if you really want to get it, either double it, So record a second vocal, double your vocal. I think Dave Grohl in Foo Fighters, he doubles and triples and quadruples all of his chorus vocals, and they sound amazing because of it. The reason that's good is when you re-sing it, you sing it very similarly, but not exactly the same. And this method of detuning does the same sort of thing. It will redo it, and you can detune it, and you can also nudge it, so it's slightly before or after, so it's got a little delay and a little different tuning, and it just thickens it up. If you've got a thin vocal, try that method. And why don't I copy that one? I'll throw it here in the chat. So if you're here watching live, don't worry, I haven't forgotten about the poll. We will get back to the poll. If you're here watching live, you'll be able to see that one. I'm just waiting for it to go out to there. But good tip, DJ at Normal Norman. Very cool name. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's see if we've got any other questions here. Christoph says, here's a cue for you. What do you do in iOS GarageBand when you mess something up and want to either undo or quit the project and not save it? Yeah, you know what you do? It's actually a great question. You simply close the app. And I've done this a bunch of times. Let's just say that I did a bunch of stuff in here, and instead, so I didn't want all this business that I just did with the drummer and everything else. If I wanted, I could just come in here and undo it and undo and undo and undo and undo and undo. But there's so many different undo layers there. And by the way, don't forget, if you want to redo, tap and hold, and you can redo. So tap and hold, redo. A lot of people don't know that your undo button's also a redo button. I don't know why they don't just put a redo button right next to it. That would make it easier. But say we redo all this stuff. So there we go. So actually, I'll change this from car. Sorry, I actually wanted Nikki to stay in there, and I wanted those drum follow to me on. All right. So as you may know, to save a project, you're doing this stuff and you want to save it. You click here, and there you go. It goes save, and it saves your song. And then you come back in here. If I did something here and I just totally messed it up, and I added a bunch of different tracks, and it wasn't working, and I wasn't happy, and I'm like, everything I did since I last saved is shite. I just want to get rid of this. Guess what? If you just swipe up, boop, and close GarageBand, then reopen it, and then go back into your song. Look what oh, see, it's proven me wrong. How did it auto-save? I don't know how it did that, because what it should do, and what I've done in the past, is it hasn't saved it when I've actually closed the app. That may be something new. I've definitely used that tactic before of just literally closing it, because if it crashes, you lose it. It's not auto-saving as you go, so if you crash it, you lose it. So sorry, I was giving that demo, and then it didn't work as intended. So maybe you can't. Maybe undo must remain your friend, and you'll just have to use a bunch of undos. There you go. There's the video that I got the 80-20 bass rule from. It's called Hack Music Theory. Very cool. Maybe that can be one of our hidden gems for a future shows. Suppose I pan a file on Ableton 24 left, but I don't want the audio information coming in the right-hand side. How to avoid this? Even is it possible in GarageBand? It's fine. So you want it 24 left. So the thing is, I think I understand what you're talking about here. The thing with panning is that your panning is really just a volume control. It's a volume control for your left and the right. So if you're saying you want something 24 left, what that's doing is it's increasing the volume on the left and decreasing on the right. And then the more volume on the left you have and the less volume on the right determines where it feels like it is in the stereo spectrum. I know it's a bit of a weird concept to get your head around, but if you're saying I want it to be not as wide on the left, then the way to do that is to have some of it on the right. If you just have it on the left, it's just going to feel quieter, but all the way over on the left. Now, there's some plugins you can use to sort of fix this and help with this that get it to sort of sit where you want it. But really, the way panning works is that it is literally just the ratio between. So 100% left, pan left is 100% volume on the left and 0% on the right. Pan 90% left, by definition, needs to be 90% volume on the left and 10% volume on the right. If it's 90% on the left and 0% on the right, it's just going to be 100% left, but a bit quieter. Does that make sense? I know it's a weird one to get your head around, because you think panning is like a spatial thing. You're positioning it in your stereo space, but really it is just adjusting two volume knobs. It's like you got two tracks, one's left, one's right, and you're turning the volumes up and down to get that panning effect. So yeah, so short answer is you can't really, but hopefully that sort of helped you understand a bit more about the concept of that work, of how that works. Yeah, Kyle's family are now living in a park. Poor Kyle. I dump him as the drummer because he's so played out. Kyle and Anders I used so much because they were like the OG drummers. But yeah, they lose now. Tim Osborne, hello. It has been a long time, and thank you for dropping on by. Have you heard anything about the new synthesizer 2 that has just been released and it is on the store for a reduced $14.99? Synthmaster 2. I haven't. You know who your go-to people are for synth stuff? It's Doug over at the Sound Test Room, and Jade does a lot of synth-related stuff. I'm actually not a good synth guy, and I don't keep up with this sort of stuff. So I reckon if we go Synthmaster 2... Since after 2, this was a month ago, but yeah, out now, full version demo, more than 3,500 presets. So jump over to the Sound Test Room and go and check out Mr. Doug Woods at the Sound Test Room because he will have your synth stuff covered. The reason I don't dive into this is that it's already covered. It's already covered by other people who I know and trust. So. And I don't use a lot of synth stuff, to be honest. I don't use a lot of synths in my songs. So yeah, I would go check out Doug. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see if we've got any other questions. Jade's starting a virtual GoFundMe for Kyle's virtual family. I know. I'll chip in a virtual tenner. Jade, put me down for that. Because without our support, Jade's family are going to look like this. Kyle's family are going to look like this, and we don't want that. We want Kyle's family to be able to keep the lights on, especially coming into winter. I'm assuming Kyle lives in the Northern Hemisphere. Everyone seems to. Yeah, I might as well get it if it's on sale. Let's let's check it out. I've maybe we'll do something a bit random, and I'll just buy if it's on sale and everyone thinks it's so good. Why don't I just buy it? Who would have thought? Here I am saying, "Oh, I was going to help keep the lights on," and now I'm going to be spending money while we do this. Yeah, see, it's like $22.99 here Australian because we have a bad dollar. And I know I'll get in trouble because I think Doug would probably say, "Pete, I would have got a copy for you." So yeah, maybe we don't have time because look, when I look at screenshots like that, it just makes my head hurt. Because I don't use synths and look at all that. Everyone would be like, look at all the customization options. And I'd go, oh God, look at all the customization options. You're talking to a guy who just loves to grab Alchemy synth and throw a preset on and cross my fingers and toes and hope for the best. So maybe it's not for me. Maybe we'll leave that. We'll leave that for the professionals. But definitely worth checking out if you are in the market for some synth goodness. Excuse me. I read that Apple removed the close function because people were closing out assuming it'd been saving and losing data, so they added a quick snapshot to the project. Okay. So that explains that. So now when you're closing out, it looks like it'll do a quick save, so that you're not thinking you've got it. Like when you do that, it's obviously saving behind the scenes, and then you're going back in, and it's coming back to the point your song was at. So it's probably a good feature. It probably helps more people than it hurts, but yeah, it's a bit weird. Let's see. Have we got any other questions? Anyone remember the ping pong technique from old recording, like 12 and 16 tracks? Yeah. Yeah, when you were ping-ponging between... So if you had a 4-track... So my first recording experience was on a Tascam Porta Studio 424 Mark II. Great little unit. I sold it for like $400. These days it would probably be worth many thousands because that was like a high-end 4-track. For a home recording rig, it was high-end. And yeah, that had 4 tracks. So if you recorded a couple of guitars and a vocal, before you recorded that 4th track, what you would do is you would bounce those down to track 4 and then record tracks like 1 and 2 and then bounce all 3 of those tracks to another track. Like you had to do this constant thing, which meant, of course, you'd lose quality over time and you'd lose the ability to change anything. But it actually helped you. It helped you lock in to what you were doing. I know I say that the good thing about digital recording is you get unlimited retries, and I say that a lot. But the flip side of that is you get unlimited retries, which means you can spend a lot of time and not actually get things there. And you can duplicate your project. So this is a great point. Let's just touch on this, and then I haven't forgotten I have kind of forgotten the poll, but we'll go back to the poll afterwards once I catch up on these questions. This is a great point. When I'm creating a new song, And you've probably seen me do this before. We'll come in here to my iCloud Drive and my GarageBand for iOS. So if we go to my completed folder here and we go into, say, my Selfish Aware album here, can you see how a lot of these are different versions of things? Oh, these are all version 1. I've obviously not kept the originals that we went through. Where's something? Maybe Songtember. Did I keep all of the... Yeah, here we go. So, Songtember 2020. I did exactly this. So you can see here we've got version 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, don't know what happened to 12, 14, oh, there's 12, just slightly out of order, right up to version 18, which is probably the closest to the final finished version that we had. And all I did here was every time I made a significant change, or I started and you'll see this in this year's Songtember, every time I was starting a significant new process or new day, I would simply tap and hold and hit duplicate, and then it will give me the next number there. And yeah, you know what? If you're short on space, this is going to suck because it's going to create the whole project every time. But even if you only keep yourself that last one, just give yourself 1 or 2 or 3 revisions and updates to go back to. We won't need this now. We'll just delete that. That way you can use your version control to, over time, to just keep something. So if you completely mess it up, like you add a bunch of effects and a bunch of EQ and it just sounds dreadful, guess what? You just delete that one, you go back to your last version, and you go from there. So that is another tip for young players there if you're having trouble, and you can duplicate out your tracks. But we have... StreamYard tells me when we're having connection issues here now, so my little connection thing just dropped down to 2 bars and then 1 bar, but we're back. So if you got a little bit of stuttering there, then I apologize for that. Let's continue on. No synth, Pete is the love knob all the way. Exactly. If you've seen me playing around with the synth, what is it called? The sensual sax. You've seen me play with my love knob. And if you think that I'm just being weird and creepy, I'm talking about the sax app here. Let's just go. I'll show it to you now. I don't know why I'm paranoid that you're going to think I'm weird. But if we go in here to... I've lost it now. That's right. We'll just go to a random song that doesn't actually have it, and we'll go. So there is an app in here called the Sensual Sax, which I like playing around with. And I need to be careful here not to play, because every time I get this, I just want to play like Baker Street or Careless Whisper, but... Oh, that's enough. I'm going to get it. If you didn't hear anything, I got a copyright claim and I had to remove it. But yeah, who can resist putting their love knob up and playing Baker Street when you play around with Sensual Sax? I've got to be careful saying that. Thank you, Down Under Dishwashing Liquid. Dawn Ultra Dishwashing Liquid. Is this the actual Dawn Ultra Dishwashing Liquid? That's a very strange name for a YouTube channel, unless it's legitimately the YouTube channel of the Dawn Ultra Dishwashing Liquid. In which case, if I've got a good radio booked, would you like me to be the voice of Dawn Ultra? Use new and improved Dawn Ultra Dishwashing Liquids. Your dishes will never look this sparkly again. There you go. You can have that. That's free. Tim's going to go get the synth. There you go. Synth 1 for iPad is free and fantastic. Yeah, I do like synth 1. Don't play with it enough because I'm not a big synth guy. Synthmaster 2 is the only synth you need. I'll be doing my show on it soon. Oh, that's fantastic. Fantabulous. Have people here seen Steinberg's Dorico for iPad? It seems pretty good for free. You can arrange 4 parts if you register with Stein. Oh, I haven't. Okay, that's cool. I haven't played with that. So good stuff. I'll have to investigate. Dawn Ultra Shopping Liquid. Ultra Dishwashing Liquid. Hi, Pete. I keep running into a problem where GarageBand crashes when using third-party plugins on iOS. Any fix? So, not really. The problem with third-party plugins, and it depends on what the plugins are. If they're crashing when you're just using them, then sometimes it comes down to memory. Remember that the more plugins you add, the more memory you're using and the less reliable your GarageBand section is going to be. So I'm here using my iPad Pro 2020. I don't have too many problems. I can layer up a bunch of different external instruments and I'll still be okay. But if you then start using a bunch of plugins externally, you do hit a point where, and it won't tell you, it'll just either start optimizing performance or start crashing. So that's not exactly ideal, but do keep that in mind that it can cause you issues if you have too many going on there. There are some also, whenever there's an iOS update, it seems that some plugins have trouble recovering from that iOS update. So there is that as well. So just check around. And a good place to ask about this stuff is the GarageBand users Facebook group. If you're using GarageBand and you've got questions and you are a Facebook user, or as I always say, even if you're not, I know some people like and some people don't like GarageBand. Don't like Facebook. Look, there I am live right now. I'm live on. See, I accidentally put my own personal channel, so I'm live there. So hello, anyone that's watching on the personal channel. I didn't really mean to do it that way. But yeah, if you come here to the Garageband users Facebook group, you can see that we've got a very good community there. There are 12,000 members there. Lots of cool people that can help you out. So if you're running into specific trouble, a lot of the times people put a question there about a particular app, and then someone else will say, oh yeah, I got the exact same problem with this. I did this, and now it's golden. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Let's scroll out. The future is pods. What do we go? Oh, the pods, not the Tide pods. What do I use? We use the Fairy or Finish or something. I don't know. Something starts with F. We're getting into a dishwashing liquid chat here on Your Music Live. No, on Studio Live today. All right. I've caught up with the chat, which is excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over and I'm going to check out this one over here, which is our poll. We're going to end the poll, and this should throw the poll results here into the chat. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. It's taken a while here because the chats had to catch up because I went back to YouTube to take a look at this, and now it's taken a while. Yes, thank you, Thomas. There is you can go to the GarageBand users Facebook group. There is the link to get there. And so here's what we got here. We had 22 of you that are here live that actually answered the poll. And what we'll do, for those that are watching on other platforms outside, I will paste in the poll results as a comment here, and then I'll be able to throw it up here on the screen. No, not that sort of throw it up. So yeah, what do we have? What percentage of people were sharing? So 60%, 40% think 60%, 22% think 40%, 18% of people think that it's 100% down to promotion, and 18% think it's 80%. So the majority of you think that it's about a 60-40 split. And if you're just joining us, this was the question we asked about how important is promotion when it comes to your song compared to just the quality of your song. So I'd agree with that. So to give you my view on this, I think it's right. I know that in the past when I've released a song and done zero promotion, it basically goes nowhere. When I do a little bit of promotion, it goes somewhere. When I do a lot of promotion, it goes a little further. So I would probably agree with the 50-50 to 60-40 kind of split, that you need a good song. It's kind of like recording. I say this a lot, but you can record a crap song in $1 million studio, and guess what? You got a crap song. You can record a great song on an iPhone and it's still a great song. And you can record a great song in $1 million studio and it's a great song. It'll just sound a little bit better. It's the same with promotion. You still need a great song, because if you've got a piece of crap and you try and polish that turd and then promote it, you're just going to lose face and lose credibility, and people are going to go, oh no, that's terrible. I don't want that. So yeah, you still need a good song, I think. Does it need to be the same? Does it need to be like radio ready, polished with all the stuff? No. Some of the best songs are weird. There is a song at the moment that I'm addicted to. It is by an artist called Baby Dave. And it's called, I've shared it over on the Create, Record, Release Facebook group. So you can jump over there if you want to take a listen to it. Or you can just look it up here. But it is called Too Shy for Tennis. I can't play it again here because of copyright issues. But go watch the video and listen to Too Shy for Tennis. I need to reach out to Baby Dave, and yeah, there's a bit of the video there. I need to reach out to Baby Dave and say, can I play that on YML? Because that would be the perfect toilet break song. Maybe I just roll the dice and take a risk and play it tomorrow, and then ask for forgiveness instead of permission. But yeah, I love it. And it just goes to show that you'd listen to that song, and the first time you listen to it, you go, this is terrible. This is a piece of crap. And then you're walking around going, too shy for tennis. Why have I got that song in my head? I'm going to just listen to it one more time. And then you listen to another time. And then you listen to another time. So yeah, there's things that you get in your head and that are a good song, but they don't necessarily have to be the same as all the other songs or the highly polished stuff. That's my view on that. Alrighty, a little dabble, do you? Right? Yes, a little dab. I don't tend to use the Brill cream these days because it's not 1950 and I have no hair. So there's your two problems. Is it possible to be promoted by yourself on Spotify, or do you need to be a person to help out with that? Yeah, so it's a good question. When it comes to promotion, there's kind of a few ways. Like anything, there's organic versus paid. So organic promotion means you are putting it on your own Facebook profile. You're emailing people that are influencers have big playlists and things, and you're just basically grinding it out and trying to do it all. And then there's paid promotion, which is Facebook ads, it's Instagram ads, Instagram story ads, all of that sort of stuff. So do you need to do both every time? Not really. To answer your question, can you do it yourself or do you need someone? I mean, look, it doesn't hurt to have someone with some clout to give you a leg up. So if you get your song in front of someone who likes it, there's the whole reason that why there's A&R people that are around there. But the thing is, if your song's good enough and you get it in front of people, yes, you've got to do a little bit of the work to get it in front of people. But the whole fact that playlists exist and people try and get on playlists has spiked this horrible trend of these. Okay, there's two things that happen here. There's people that'll hear your song on SoundCloud or they'll see it on Facebook, and then you'll get an instant message or a DM, or you'll get a comment that's like, bro, I can make your beat fire. I can get you on all these playlists. I can get you radio play. Just message me here. And then you message them and you go down this sales funnel basically that ends up with you paying them money for them to promote your song. The best thing that can come out of that is that you might get a few extra plays legitimately. The worst thing that usually comes out of that is that those services are actually paying for bots or very lowly paid workers to just constantly stream your stuff and to artificially follow, to create a fake account and then follow you. That's not cool. So don't go down that way. The other thing is that this is going to be some tough love right here now, but that's not how the whole A&R world works. People don't, if you get a form letter that's just spamming a bunch of people, even if they say, I heard your music and it sounds great, we as musicians and music creators like hearing that. And they know that they can stroke the egos of some of us and we'll think, oh, wow, they actually listen, because so many people don't listen, that a lot of these scams are really preying on people's vulnerability, which I despise. And I will continue bashing on about this and say, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And you paying for promotion because someone came to you and said, hey, we'd like to promote you, and then they ask you for money, that's not how it works. If they believe in you, they'll want to invest in you, and then they'll want to take a part of the profit of that. That's the difference. Someone that just wants you to pay for everything, that's not someone that's actually doing A&R. Like, that's not someone who's actually investing in music and is someone who knows good music. That's someone who's trying to make money from vulnerable people, paying them for stuff. People that actually know good music, they will go and hunt that down, but the way they contact you will be very different. It will be very specific, it'll be very direct, and they won't come to you asking for you to pay up front. Yeah, you'll have to pay eventually, but it's a very different kettle of fish. There you go. That's my rant on that one. So you get a few rants. These longer shows, you get some more rants. I'm going to drink some really cold coffee. And then we're going to come back. No word from Palmolive. Palmolive, yeah. I know we're going down the dishwashing route. Garland, do you mix and master vocals for a certain price? I don't actually do any mixing or mastering services anymore. I'm very focused on this, and especially this time of year coming into our big Songtember challenge we do each September. I haven't actually taken on any work this year. So last year I did a bunch of mixing and mastering and did some work for a few different artists. This year I've been completely off that. So it doesn't mean I never will, but the probably the best way is to, if you join Patreon, you get more access to myself, but also some other members of that community. And yeah, if you become a patron and then there's stuff that you want worked on, yeah, look, I never say never, and I'll never say no without knowing. But it would have to be. A lot of people will say, "Oh, can you mix this song?" And this dude on Fiverr said he'll do it for $20, and unfortunately, I can't compete with that. So yeah, there are people that will mix. And again, if you go to the Create, Record, Release Facebook group, even there's a lot of people out there. If you put the word out and you said, "Hey, here's my budget," like, we don't like it to be super promoting like that over there. But if you legitimately say, "I've got a song, I'd really like it mixed and mastered by someone who knows this genre of music. I'm a hip hop artist. If you mix and master hip hop, I've got a budget of $100. Can someone help me out?" And then you make a connection, then you can go with that. That way you kind of talking to people that you trust. Yeah, I don't. The business that preys on vulnerable people, like any scam where they're preying on people's vulnerabilities or people's fear, I just really, really, really hate. Like these the Amazon refund scammers where they get little old ladies to like drive to Target and Best Buy and buy gift cards to pay off a refund thing that they apparently refunded the wrong amount. Like, it just does my head in. I can't imagine how these people actually sleep at night knowing the impact that they're having on people. And the same with the music stuff. I just don't get it. Question here from Michael Lynn Jr. Just discovered you the other day. Welcome to the community, my friend. Bought your class on the website. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Do I have any other classes for purchase? And can you recommend a good USB mic? Best bang for the buck. So I'm working on other courses, but it's taking a bit longer than I would like. I do want to get a GarageBand Advanced course out there for those that have already done the beginner stuff and want a little bit more of the advanced stuff. In the meantime, check out the playlists here on YouTube. There's heaps of stuff about mixing and mastering and some more advanced topics here. So thank you for your support. I do appreciate it. If you want my recommendations, head on over to the Gear Guy. We talked about it at the start of the show. So if you go to studiolivetoday.com/gear, this one here, then this is all the stuff that I currently use. So my current setup here in July or now August 2021, all the different audio interfaces I use. And then down here, we've got it grouped into different sections. So in terms of USB microphones, you really can't go wrong with either the Blue Yeti or the Blue Yeti Nano. They are the industry standards for a reason. They sound good, they work good, they just do the job. So if you are looking for a USB microphone, you've got a little bit more to spend. For whatever reason, Sweetwater's taking a while to come up here, and it's not actually showing us the microphone. Come on, Sweetwater. We'll go to Amazon instead. That might load a bit quicker. There we go. So you've seen these, right? You've seen people using these. They're good for voiceover. They're actually surprisingly good for vocals and for guitars and things as well. Multiple polar patterns on there. You got your headphone jack and your USB port in the bottom. That's a good option, but it doesn't have the price there. They usually retail around $150, so they're a little bit more expensive. My go-to, and I mentioned it earlier in the show, so I won't go into too much detail. This sucker here, the Sweetwater's taken a while again. The Samson Meteor. Not only is it adorable looking, like a little robot, but it's only $70. And as mentioned before, it punches way above its weight. It's nice and weighty and solid. Good components in there. Same thing again. You got your headphone jack on the bottom there. You got your USB connection. You got your volume control, and it works. And there you go. 26 reviews, 4.5 star. It is a little star player in my opinion. So if you're looking to up your quality, and you're using an iPhone or an iPad, something like that can be great. And I did mention it earlier, so I won't harp on, but the other thing to make sure that you have is the Lightning to USB 3 adapter. If you're using a Lightning-based iPad, if you're using a USB-C-based iPad Pro, you'll just need any USB-A to C adapter to change that USB into a Lightning, so it can go into your device. So that is my recommendations, but thank you. Welcome to the community, and happy creating, my friend. Good to have you here. Appreciate it. Scrolling on down, we'll see if we've got any other questions. A question here from Peter. Do all DAWs have virtual instruments, or is that all in GarageBand? If I was interested in leaving GarageBand, would I still be able to play virtual instruments? Yeah, so if you're on iOS, a lot of the other iOS DAWs do have their own versions of virtual instruments. So let's say you hit some limitations with GarageBand and you're like, oh, I want to dive into the world of, say, something like Cubase S3. So Cubase S3 is made by Steinberg. It is a slightly more full-featured DAW, but it has a whole bunch of other things here, but it has its own selection of virtual instruments here. So you've got a bunch of different keyboards, and you've got other virtual instruments in here. In my personal opinion, GarageBand probably has the best overall quality and the best set of virtual instruments anywhere on iOS, because nothing else has the amount of basses, drums, synths, like brass instruments. There's a whole bunch of stuff you have in GarageBand that really it's not compared in other DAWs, especially for free. And remember that you can add in additional instruments. Like we looked at with our saxophone before, you can add in other high-quality instruments just by downloading them, and you can use them just as easily here in GarageBand as you can in any other DAW. The other one to consider is Auria Pro. That probably has even less actual virtual instruments. That's more focused on recording your own instruments, like your own guitars and your own microphones and other stuff. If you're moving into the desktop world, things like GarageBand on a Mac or Logic do have virtual instruments. Cakewalk by BandLab does have some virtual instruments as well if you're on a PC. So yeah, it's worth exploring. But honestly, and yes, I'm semi-biased because I use GarageBand iOS all the time, but I haven't found another platform. I think that's why people crave GarageBand on things like Android and on PC, is that GarageBand has just done it right. In terms of the easiest, simplest way to get some high quality virtual instruments into your projects, I think GarageBand does it the best, in my personal opinion. And the opinion of quite a few other folks. Let's see if we'll continue on here. Like I said, I do have some I do have the Clubhouse lurk. You folks talking on Clubhouse behind my back? Well, I don't know why it's behind my back. I could join you. I could dial directly into the Clubhouse if I wanted to, but I won't. Hello, Michael, aka Zealand Band. Michael's just started releasing on DistroKid, which is super exciting. If you don't know Michael, we share a lot of his music. He's one of my wonderful patrons, and he shares his music most weeks on Your Music Live. He's a bit of a prolific creator. So welcome to you. Thanks for being here. I'm just seeing if I've missed robocalls. I know the robocalls are the funniest. I've started trying to sort of mess around with them, but I'm no good at it. I just get angry and then they hang up on me. So I had one the other day where they were like, "Oh, did you know that that we've got some great news for you? We've got this amazing investing software." And I'm like, "No, I don't think so." And they're like, "Oh yeah, but the good thing about this is most people think that that it's going to be an overnight success and they're going to make 100% on their money." And I'm like, "No, I don't want that. I want 120%. I want more asbestos. No." So yeah, I don't do it well. My wife does it very well. She leads them along for a while, and then there's the one where they talk about an accident. They're like, "Oh, you've been in an accident." It's a classic scam. "You've been in an accident and you might be eligible for payment. We just need your details and your credit card number and your bank account." Yeah, I don't know who's fallen for this stuff, but yeah, she played along with one the other day. She's like, "Yeah, I was driving along. I did just have an accident. I was driving along and a dinosaur just walked down in front of me and I crashed straight into it." And they're like, "Oh, well," like they're not listening, obviously. "Oh, we can help you out with that." And she's like, "Oh," and they're like, what can we do for this?" And she's like, I'm a bit more concerned about the dinosaur at this stage. I hope they're all right." It's like just playing them along. I think they eventually hung up on her. I have to get the whole story. I should have got her in here to tell the actual story. It's pretty funny. I've been wanting another Baby Blues bottle mic. Oh, I'm not familiar with that myself. Best keyboard and mouse trackpad for iPad for the money. So I've got a couple of recommendations. I like the Magic Keyboard if you've got the iPad Pro. The actual keyboard and mouse combo that I use here is now the MX 880. But the best value for money, the best bang for your buck in terms of one, and I have the new one here because I gave this to my wife because she uses it now, is the Logitech MX, what is it called? I've got it here. This is why it's good to have my own gear guide because I've actually got my stuff here. I don't think I have a separate section, but I think it's up here. Is it keyboard and mouse? Yeah, the Logitech MK345. It's actually your best combination of value. How much does it cost here? Doesn't actually say. I think it's about $50. But it's a really good, just simple, basic keyboard and mouse, USB, but it works really nicely for everything. The other one that I use, which if you're just looking for a keyboard, doesn't have the mouse, but it's just a little Bluetooth keyboard. This thing is really cool too, the Logitech K480. I've got one of these as well, and this is, again, a multi-device, so you can use this with your iPhone, your iPad, and your Mac, or your PC, and it's got all the right keys for everything, and it just works really well. You can switch it, it's Bluetooth, and it just works well. So once again, Gear Guide is where you want to go if you want to see all my recommendations. I run into a problem when playing on instrument on record. I'll leave it in sustain. It's too long. I turn it off and it's just right. However, after I finish recording, the notes come out shorter. Sustain can be a bit of a buggy thing in GarageBand. It is difficult to get the sustain sounding right. You can play around with the sustain in GarageBand afterwards because sometimes it won't record in exactly right. Don't forget that you do have in your MIDI, you do have a sustain track. So let's just come to this brass ensemble. So if we go into edit the MIDI here, we'll go edit. Down the very bottom, you've got a sustain track that you may not be aware of, and we can actually turn on. I've forgotten how to do this now. Maybe you can't add it in, you can only edit it. See how it's got the sustain track here? Let's just let's play a little piano part, and we'll see if we can add sustain and do a quick test run of what you're talking about here, since you are our new favorite washing liquid based channel. What am I looking for? I just want the piano. Where's my keys at? So many keys now, it's hard to just find your piano, like your classical grand. But there we go. So what we'll do is we'll I've forgotten how to use sustain here without just having it on all the time or off. So I'll just have to use the slider here. So if we just record something in here. That's some freeform jazz if ever I heard it, right? All right, let's just solo this one out. So if we come in here and we edit this part, so we've played it in, we've got a little bit of sustain in some parts, and what we should find, yeah, here it is. So here's your sustain bar down the bottom here, and it's a little bit clunky to work out, but if you sort of scroll up here, you can see where the sustain comes on and off. So you can actually edit this. So you can slide it, and you can even trim it at the start, and I think no, you can't trim the start, but you can trim the end, and you can place the sustain to come on and off. And usually, if you place the sustain to come just on before a note there, and then just after it, you get kind of the best results. Let's just play this. So there you go. So there was the sustain. Basically, that's when the pedal is pushed down, is when that sustain is on. So if you play it in and you're not happy with it, come into your MIDI and you can edit your sustain, and that should help you a little bit. That trick you will have to catch up on the replay. We've had some great questions here today and some really good interaction. So thank you to you. If you had some fun, hit the thumbs up. We've got about 30 minutes to go, so we've still got plenty of time for your questions if you still have some more. Like our friend Tim, have you used a Rode NT1 or NT1A? Have just changed my Rode NT USB for an NT1A. I personally haven't. I know Mike over at Creative Source uses the Rode NT1, I think, or the 1A. I know Patrick at the Garageband Guide has used one or the other at various times. Both of them highly recommend it. So yes, you really can't go wrong with pretty much anything that Rode make. But the NT1 and the NT1A, both very good microphones. So you won't go long. I'm not crazy about the Samson's looks, but it works great. I'm all for it. Yeah, it looks weird. Not everyone loves the little Samson Meteor. I think it's cute. I think it's adorable. But yeah, your mileage may vary. If you don't love it, that's okay. But how can I install... How can I install GTA 5 on my iPhone without human verify? I don't know. Sorry, I'm not a gamer, and I don't know how to do anything. If you can't just download it from the App Store and play it, then I don't know. Sorry, not my forte. But thank you. I did say ask me anything, so feel free to ask me anything. But yeah. The biggest GarageBand user. There you go. I've been meaning to check out Cubase's. Do have a look. I did a video where I compared these. So if you want to learn a little bit about what maybe you're missing in Cubase's or Auria Pro, if you search my name, Pete Johns Cubase's Auria, then there is a couple of videos here that you may want to check out. If you want a really quick rundown, take a look at this one. So Cubase S3 versus Auria Pro. So just some basic things. That's only like a 5-minute video. Or this one here, I did a 52-minute, a whole almost hour deep dive live stream about a year ago. And look, some of the things in Cubase and Auria have changed slightly, but it's pretty consistent. So that's a good video to go check out if you want to find out what's happening on. Is the grass greener on the other side, or do you want to stick with GarageBand? So I would go and check that one out, my friend. Yeah, exactly, Tim. We live in the future. I say this a lot, but Tim said that GarageBand is incredible for a free, complete recording studio. Unthinkable 20 years ago. I know. It is. It's weird that we can do this. For anyone that recorded on 4 tracks or on tape at all or on things in the past, then that is, yeah, it's unfathomable that we are where we are at the moment. Hello, sorry, goat. I have a question. How can I master a song? There's a bunch of different ways you can master a song. I would, again, come over here and type my name here, type Pete Johns, and then type the word mastering. And you'll have a whole bunch of options here. So that's how audio mastering explained, mastering in GarageBand. There's some online mastering tools. There's a couple of options you have there for Final Touch and Grand Finale, a couple of different apps that you have, mixing and mastering. So yeah, if you want to find out all of the things that I know and that I recommend about mastering, you can basically have access to my brain. And if you want to support the channel as well, what we talked about earlier was that I do have, I've got so many links open here, I can't find it now, but if you go to studiolivetoday.com/courses, we'll do this, /courses, then you can check out the Garageband Beginner's Guide. So if you're starting out with Garageband, you want to learn about recording, mixing, and mastering, 5 hours of hand-picked gear in there for just $10. So that should certainly set you off on the right direction. So thank you. For free, so yeah, for free, you're looking at GarageBand. So GarageBand mastering you can do for free, and it works a treat. There you go. Barry is back. Welcome back, Barry. Barry and Joe, chilling and relaxing, hopefully. Yeah, so that's how you can master a song for free. Gregory Sullivan says, I just bought a no-name iPad Pro case and keyboard from eBay. Seemed fine, and those pulsating RGB illuminated keys aren't tacky at all. Sounds great. Sounds dope, Gregory. That sounds like the dopest keyboard ever. Let's Jade uses the NT1. There you go. I knew other folks were using it. So Jade uses the NT1 as well, which is cool. Yeah, the Sax app is great. Totally. It is. Do go check it out. It's good. Is the NT1, yeah, I think it's what Jade uses for a lot of your vocals. Yeah, use it for the daily live stream and recording, yeah. So I use this one, which is the Audio-Technica AE3300. It is a condenser mic, but it's a handheld sort of format. I only use this one over like something like a Rode NT1 because I found this at a cash converters. I've said this a bunch of times for about $150. It's like a $300, or here in Australia, I think it's like a $500 microphone. So I would never buy this, but I would do that. Let's see if we got any other questions. Just scrolling down. Are there any AI mastering? Yeah, so if you're looking for online mastering, look for Lander or eMastered. They're two options that you have. I think I've reviewed Lander way back when. The thing with these is you'll usually have to pay to get a good quality master. So there you go. I've got a video there about online mastering with Lander. The thing with Lander is you can download like the MP3 version of it for free, but you can only do like one a month, and then you have to go onto a plan and start paying for it. So if you want to test it out, test the waters, see if mastering is going to be for you using online mastering, yeah, maybe check out that one and see if Lander is for you. But yeah, like most things in life, yeah, you do need to pay. Like the best things in life for free, except when they're not and you have to pay because you get what you pay for, right? Right here, Tonebridge, if I'm using the effects away from home with just the iPad, best connector for 2020 iPad Pro USB-C. I'm in the midst of working out what the best connector is going to be for an iPad Pro using USB-C. Jade has a recommendation. She uses the Sabrent USB-C adapter. I've got one by Cable Creation that I use. I've got, again, some recommendations over on my gear guide. So if you do want to jump on over to the gear guide, you'll be able to see some of the things that I recommend. I can't get to the gear guide for whatever reason. There I am. So the one that I use here, if you go again to USB-C hub, there's, of course, the original Apple version that you can get, which is pretty pricey. It's also not available at the moment, but that one's going to work for just a nice, simple, portable one to use. Or the other one that I like is this one here, from Cable Creation, little USB-C hub that just plugs into the side there, and it's got, the reason I like this one is it's also got a headphone jack. So this is the one that I throw in my kit bag because it gives you headphone, USB, HDMI, and USB-C, and it plugs right into the side. It's a little bit on the flimsy side because I don't trust that it's not going to like get yanked out. You do have to be a bit careful, but it does have USB power pass-through, as you can see there, and the ability to plug in USB stuff, which is cool. And it's in stock, $30. Bit expensive, but worth it, in my humble opinion. How are we going on time? Still about 20 minutes to go. Joshua Good, hope you are doing well, my friend. Whoever I said g'day to. Thomas says, I've used my MXL 990 mic for over 10 years. It's pretty good for the price. Yeah, MXL makes some good stuff, for sure, as well. What's my opinion on Jack White and the White Stripes and the Dead Weather and the Raconteurs? In Australia, they're known as the Saboteurs. Oh, okay. Don't have a heap of views on a lot of those. Jack White, the White Stripes I like. Not super familiar with the Dead Weather or the Raconteurs or Saboteurs. But yeah, I don't mind a bit of White Stripes, a bit of Jack White. It's a bit eclectic, it's a bit out there, it's a bit interesting. The reason I like Jack White is that he's a guy that just tries things. He just does things. He doesn't seem to be following any sort of rules or trend or anything. He's just getting stuff done. He's just getting out there and doing his thing, which I like. Your iRig Pro now comes with a USB-C cable. Does the new iRig Pro come with USB-C? That's cool. I know the versions I've got. So I've got the iRig Pro IO down there. I've got an iRig Pro Duo on its way, which is cool. But I believe they're still both just USB and Lightning. And I think you need to still adapt them to USB-C. Could be wrong on that. Maybe they've updated them. I'll look into that. How can I make tone bridges tones sound like the tones used in the song? They never sound right. It also comes down to the quality of your interface and the quality of your guitar. So the tones can only do so much. And remember that they're not exactly the same. You may need to tweak them. What I tend to find is that the default settings in Tone Bridge are a little bit soft in terms of you need to grab that effect knob and turn it up usually about 20% to get the sounds good. But yeah, I've done a few videos here on Tone Bridge that you can check out. And I know Jade's checked out Tone Bridge quite a bit as well. So yeah, there's some options there. All right. Nope, I bought the Duo and it has USB-C cable. Cool. Well, there you go. Maybe the newer versions do have the USB-C cable. That is good. That is good news because I've got my Duo coming, and if it's got USB-C, so is it USB-C A and Lightning in the box, or is it just USB-C now and Lightning? I'm not sure. It'd be cool if it had all three. I'll find out because I'm going to get one and I'm going to take a look at it and see what goes on. I had something on my list here to talk about, and I've completely forgotten about what it was. Let me just close some tabs here. We've got 20 minutes left, folks. If you do have any final questions, please do ask them. Don't forget, if you are having fun, hit the like button, hit the big thumbs up button there. If you think this has been a giant waste of time, well, I'm not sure why you're still here, but feel free to dislike. I've got pretty thick skin these days. You don't spend time on YouTube for the last 6 years without developing some pretty thick skin. I was talking about it recently with Sarah yesterday and with other people recently that I think that the problem that a lot of people run into is that when you're online and when you're creating music or you're creating video content, it's listening to the 1% of haters, but also the 1% of lovers. I say lovers a bit weirdly, but your biggest fans and your biggest haters are not representative of the 98% of the gooey center in the middle. So there are people that will watch everything you do, or if you're a musician, that will listen to everything you do and just say, great job, everything's great, you're the best thing ever. And then there's people that no matter what you do, you can put your best foot forward. I do a live show and I'll start the live show with 2 thumbs down already. So people are prejudging the fact that I'm not going to like this so much that I'm going to dislike it before it even starts. So that, to me, that's an indication of no matter what I do, I'm not going to please that 1% of people. And again, there's the very nice people that support this channel, and I do love you. Don't think I don't love you, but the 1% of people that are your biggest fans, they can often think that you can do no wrong. So the truth lies in the 98% in between, is what I wanted to say about that. I need some water. I haven't been drinking water this whole time. All righty. How's everybody doing? Michael Washington, I'm doing exceptionally well. What's the best way to separate the bass from the drums to have a clear sound? Ooh, we're getting into the tough ones now. To separate the bass from the drums to get a clear sound, a lot of it comes down to your frequencies, doesn't it? So, and look, I'm definitely not an expert on this sort of stuff because I kind of just use Garageband and I just put my drums and my bass, and usually they'll kind of work with each other. But where people run into trouble is when your drums and your bass are both crowding some of those lower frequencies. Because remember, your drums and your bass are all that sort of sub 400 hertz, 300 hertz stuff. And if you've got too much volume and too much overpowering on both your bass and your drum, what you generally need to do is apply a little EQ. Now, here in GarageBand, you can use a very basic thing like this. So if you had one that was crowding too much, you could just grab this and roll off. So say you had a bass guitar, you wanted to roll it off like from, say, 300 hertz, that may just remove some of that additional frequency. And then if you had like a kick drum, you might want to come in here and give it a little boost around that point where you're getting that click sound, or you may not want that. You may want to reduce it. So I think a lot of it comes down to EQ. What I will tell you is that there's a video I did based on some tips that Gary Hubbs had, and Gary's a beast when it comes to bass and drums. So if we go here, drum sounds, there's a couple of videos we did here, how to get an epic kick drum sound, an epic snare drum sound. So if you use some of the tips that are in those videos, what they'll do is that they use some distortion and some EQ tips to really make your drums snap and kick through your mix. And that can also make sure that your bass, you can then use sort of similar sort of things on your bass. And it's similar to the 2 guitar thing that you can do. So what you want to do if you're using like 2 guitars, one on the left, one on the right, is you might want to say carve out one at 500 hertz, but boost the other one at 500 hertz so that you're creating some space. Because remember, EQ is just a bunch of volume knobs for your different frequencies. So if you've got drums and bass and they're competing with each other too much, it may just be that they're both crowding a frequency at like 250 or 300 or 350 hertz, and you may need to go in there and start playing around with it. Or it may even be the really low end. You may need to use a high pass or a low cut filter and just filter that out. People don't think about that. They're like, but drums and bass have to be really drummy and bassy, except when they don't. Excuse me, except when they're overcrowding and they're sounding too boomy, in which case it's not actually a bad idea to, and you don't have to roll it all completely off, but maybe just reduce that down if it's too rumbly. So there's a bunch of things that you can do there that hopefully will help you out there. And if other people have got other options, then that's what this is all about. Leave them down in the comments. And if you're watching on the replay, by the way, if you missed me live here, this was a bit of a weird ad hoc one. We don't usually do a Friday show or a Thursday night show, depending where you are in the world. But I hadn't done an Ask Me Anything in a while. And this is where all the cool questions come out and you folks can contribute. So if you missed it, don't stress. Comment section down below. Ask your questions. Like this one, do you have start that whole sentence again. Do you have a private Facebook group or a subscription? So there's a couple of ways that you can get involved here on the channel a little bit more. You can jump over to Patreon. So for as little as $1 per week, you can support me over here at patreon.com/PeteJohns. And you can join the other 70 folks that we have in that community there. The other thing that you can do is go over to Facebook to the Create, Record, Release group. So Patreon will cost you $1, at least $1 a month. There's different tiers with different benefits you can get there, but I do appreciate all of my patrons. You guys are awesome, and guys and girls are awesome. And if you want to just join a sort of larger group, we've got about 1,000 people over at the Create, Record, Release Facebook group. So just go to createrecordrelease.com or search Create, Record, Release in your Facebook, and you will find us and some of the very cool people that we have here. There you go. Thomas has beat me to it. Has it right there. You can head over to Create, Record, Release. Where are we up to? I'm going to go eat a delicious burger for lunch in 15 minutes, so we've got some time here. Lone Wolf's Echo says, I always make my music sound so low by the time I've finished. Yeah, look, it's practice. Practice makes progress. Just keep going with it. Keep trying, and you'll be good. So Joshua says, this is what I got, USB-C hub adapter compatible. Yeah, so basically the good thing about USB-C is that everything works. It's just a matter of which connections you want and making sure you have power pass-through. That's the main thing to keep in mind, that some won't actually have a power pass-through and others will. Is there any way to find the musical notes of Apple loops, not MIDI loops, audio recorder loops? No. I did a video on this because it's kind of hard. So where is it? Which key? There. So if you search this one, Pete Johns, it's which key. So which key are the loops in? Yeah. And I do show the green loops there, but I also talk about the blue loops. Short answer is that they're usually all in C minor. And there is a way to actually to filter your loops by your key. So if we come over here to our iPad for a moment, if we go to the loops here, you can actually come in here and in your filter by, you can filter by the scale, and then you can see whether they're in the minor scale or in the major scale. So, sorry, you can't actually filter by key, but you can filter by minor. And what you tend to find is that almost all of them are going to be built around C minor as their default, and then as you change here, see I'm in A flat major on this one, but as you change here, it'll start in C, and as you move that around, it'll change them. Now a lot of them are minor, some of them are major. Again, you can tell the difference here. You can filter by those. So if we came in here and we filtered by major, you're going to get just your major ones. So you're going to get, that's cool. Yeah, baby. Well, I look into your eyes. Sorry, I got a bit distracted. What did I say? When I get towards the end of a 2-hour show, it all goes haywire. So yeah, so you can play around with that. But yeah, check out the video over on the channel as well. What is the best approach to recreate a drum track from a song for a backing track? Recreate a drum track. It's a really good question. I haven't done a lot of this. Jade, did you do a video about when you created the song Smoke? Jade and I did a cover of a Ben Folds tune called Smoke, which you can check out. If you search Jade Star Smoke, you can find it. And Jade recreated the drums really nicely for that one. And Jade's done a lot of backing tracks on drums. So I'm going to handle that over. And Jade, that might be a great topic for a future video. recreating, and you'd have to obviously be careful. Here on YouTube, you can't recreate exactly. I know Jade's done some backing tracks for her covers that are so good and sound so much like the original that she's got copyright claims on them. So that can be a problem. All right, let's see. We've got time for a few more questions. Mr. Granby. How come my song sounded pretty good with earphones, but not as good on a speaker? Turned up the volume, but it clipped before max level. Yeah, so I did a video recently related to this, and it's not necessarily the problem that you have had here, but if I search Pete Johns too loud, basically a lot of it is to do with the fact that a lot of people are recording things too loud. So in this case, I've talked about Garageband and the fact that it defaults people to having things turned up way too loud, and that can be the problem that it causes. So that means that if you're listening through Garageband on your headphones, it might be sounding okay because Garageband's doing some auto-normalizing and auto-limiting that keeps it looking good. However, yeah, it doesn't always translate well when you export it because it's going to then limit it and you're going to get that pumping or that distortion or that clipping. The short answer to all this is to turn it down. It may not be the exact complete solve to everything that you're asking for there, but usually because people want their songs to pop, right? And we want it to sound good, and we need this to have more. And instead of doing what we call subtractive mixing, so reducing the volume of things that are too loud, we turn up the volume of things. It's like you're EQing. You'd be like, this bass needs more bass, so you turn up the bass. Whereas really, what it might be is that your other instruments have too much bass, and they need to have the bass rolled off so that it makes room for your bass instruments. Does that make sense? So just turning things down can often be the best way to go. Hello, Brandon Rico Simpson. I hope you are doing well. There's the Patreon link. I hope you are doing well with that. I hope you're doing well. Whew, there you go. I will sign up. Well, thank you. We would love to have you over. Anyone that would like to join us on the Patreon, feel free to. It's a wonderful group of people over there, and we do some exclusive live shows, and you get some early looks at some of the videos around here, and you get direct access to some cool people to help answer your questions. Do you have a favorite loops that you like for rock songs, says Bill? What do I use for rock songs? Not specifically in terms of loops. Whoops, what am I doing over here? I've still got that one up. There we go. Not really. When I'm doing a rock song, I'll usually start with Anders on drums. So this is probably my one tip that's related to this, but not exactly, is that instead of recording to the metronome, which does not... That does not sound rock and roll. Click, 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 click. I'll always put a drummer track in here as my metronome. And if I'm doing a heavy rock song, I'll not grab the keyboard. There's still a problem here when you're using a mouse. You can see here I use a mouse with GarageBand. When you're using a mouse with GarageBand, mouth, you can't scroll across on here. I still have to bring my finger up to scroll left and right. If you try and scroll across, it'll just hit that button. So for instance, if I just try and scroll across like that, it'll just open the drummer. So yeah, I'll normally lay down Anders, and this always gives me a bit of a rock kind of beat. So I'll just sort of throw some sort of random Anders on here with some sort of random kick drum pattern there, and just give it a bit of It's sounding so weird and jazz fusion-y now, but that's probably what I'll lean towards. In terms of actual loops, yeah, I don't use loops a whole lot, to be honest. I do. I'm really digging these 70s piano loops. Sounds like a little bit of, the Cat Empire. They're a cool Australian band. The weekend is the weekend, sunny in the park. So yeah, what was I saying? That's all. So no specific ones for rock songs, but there's a heap of cool ones in there. And don't forget, you can also download other sounds. So go to somewhere like freesound.org. There's another tip for you. An extra bonus tip here is if you've never explored freesound.org, then jump on over and check it out. Here it is. So I'm already logged in there. You can sign up for free. I like their t-shirts. Maybe I should buy a t-shirt. I'm going to talk about t-shirts in a minute. So freesound.org, you can check out a whole bunch of things. You can search for sounds in here. So even if you just went rock, whoops, I'm using the wrong keyboard. Rock beat. I don't know. Let's just search this. Rock 808 beat, beat number 10. So we can just sort of try some of these. Just turn up the volume so we can hear it, and you can audition them. and that's not really a rock beat, but you could experiment and find different things in here, and then you can just download them. Do check the user agreement. So this one's a Creative Commons license. Some will be available to be used for free. Some will be available to be used for free with attribution. So there's a bunch of other things. And yeah, Apple Loops does have some sweet jazz samples. They sure do. They sure do. Recommend Audibly or Jam Session for collab in iPad. I haven't done a whole lot of collaborations in iOS, to be honest. So yeah, not sure. Maybe that's something again that you could ask. Get over to the Create, Record, Release group. Join the Patreon. There's a heap of people there that will help you out. And we probably need to get a Discord server, don't we? People have been asking for that for a while. Let me know. If you're watching here live, let me know in the comments and let me know in the chat, or drop a comment and say Discord server, yes. And if I get enough people that say it, I'll create one. Could be a good place to hang out. What is the difference between the classical grand and the grand piano and GarageBand? They sound identical. They sound similar. Dan Baker did a review of the classical grand versus the regular grand, and yeah, they're similar, but a bit different. The classical grand, I can't actually remember. I prefer the sound of the classical grand. I think it's got a little bit more high end, a little bit more treble, so it sounds better when you're playing higher parts. The regular grand sounds better for like chords and lower parts. Yeah, go check out Dan Baker's channel because he has some really good stuff on the pianos. He uses them a lot. When you share a file and you want to compress it, you explain the difference, if that makes sense. When you share a file and you want to compress it. So compression can be two different things. Compression can be compressing audio, or it can be compressing a file size. So when I talk about compressing audio, I'm talking about the compression applied to your audio. And there is a type of compression called limiting that's applied in GarageBand automatically when you export a song. If you're talking about compressing a file so you can share it, which I think you are, then we're talking about zipping up. Like you can zip a GarageBand project and then you can share it, say, over Dropbox or Google Drive. And I have videos about that. So if you just search Pete John's Share or Pete John's Google Drive or Pete John's Zip, I have videos that will tell you all about those sort of things. Very cool. And that just means it's best for the best compressed. Oh, okay, yeah. So you want to go with uncompressed. So don't use compression if you're talking about the sharing. Sorry, Thomas is on the ball. He's got the right. What's that stuff? Oh yeah. He's got the right stuff. So yeah, if you are sharing a file, so say you're coming here into GarageBand and you're going to your share button and you're sharing as a song, always use uncompressed wave. 44.1, 24-bit. If you use one of these, it will compress your file. Now, eventually your file is going to get compressed if you upload it to SoundCloud, or if you release it using DistroKid or whatever, but you don't want to compress it here and then have it recompressed. So always use uncompressed when you're sharing anything. It will mean it's a bigger file size. The only time you'll really use a compressed file is if, say, you're just emailing it to someone just to listen to a demo, or they specifically want it in a compressed file format for size limitations. But for you and for the quality of your music, uncompressed all the way. We're going to have to... we're continuing to get questions here, so which means that we'll probably have to come back and do another Q&A down the track, because I'm run out of time. I wanted to cap this one at 2 hours, and I've got a few things that we just want to talk about before we finish up. But again, don't stress, because I will be back. We have we've got Your Music Live, where we'll be playing your music live. We'll be doing that tomorrow, so I hope you can join me for that one. We've also got the happy hour. I'm doing a mixed bag. I'm doing a bunch of different unique and interesting tunes for the acoustic happy hour that we do, which will be coming up in just a little bit of time. Now, the thing I did want to talk about here, if you are a Your Music Live fan, if you've been watching YML, you'll know that when I get sort of towards the end of the show, usually in the middle of the show, I say something like this. I'll be like, if you want to help us out here, share this. If you've got people in your life that you think would want to listen to this show or have their own music that they want to share this video, because sharing is caring and Sharon is Karen. And that started a bit of a weird meme for a while, where I would keep saying sharing is caring and Sharon is Karen. And you know how these things just sort of keep going and they keep rolling, and then eventually it just became a bit of a meme around the show. So the folks that come along, and we've usually got 40, 50 people that come along, and the regulars each week, they like the fact that we say Sharon is Karen, to the point where our man Thomas Christ, a wonderful moderator here, went out to Amazon and found himself a Sharon is Karen t-shirt and wore it. So I threatened and said, if I get enough people that tell me right now that you want an official Sharon is Karen Studio Live Today t-shirt, I'm going to make one. And guess what? Drum roll, please. There you go. Yes, we have the Sharon is Karen t-shirt there, front and center, and featured here at studiolive.today.com/merch. That's the merchandise store, the merchandise shelf. It's also directly under this video. So underneath each of my videos, you can jump straight over to Teespring from YouTube. So there's a couple of places to go there. Now, you'll notice here, it is a little bit more expensive than the regular t-shirt. I've made this the premium tee. I'm like, we don't want to skimp on the Sharon is Karen. And while it says $34.65 Australian, it's only $25 or €25. So if you are in the UK or Europe, or you're in the US or Canada, it's only going to be 25 US Freedom Eagles or 25 European euros, classy euros, for you to pick up the Sharon is Karen t-shirt. So let's just have a quick look at it. It looks like this. It has the Sharon is Karen logo on the front there, and then on the back you get a little Studio Live Today logo up the top there, YML, Your Music Live. So you can express your love for Your Music Live and confuse the crud out of all of your friends as well. And it does come in a selection of fashionable colors. This one's called Heavy Metal, which I think is pretty metal. We've got the nice army green there going on. We've got a dark blue. We've got the brown, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know, but I may be picking up the brown just quietly. Take that out of context. Pete's doing, I'm going to be picking up the brown. And the purple is actually pretty solid too. There you go. So you've got a bunch of options there. If t-shirts are not your game, but you still want to represent and you still want to support the channel here, guess what? We've got another thing. Wait, don't leave. There's more. We've got, if we go back, oh no, we're going to have to go all the way back now. We'll go back to my home. So down the bottom here, I've also added an official Sharon is Karen YML mug. So if you are sipping your hot beverage while you're watching Your Music Live, you can now be doing it in style with your very own Sharon is Karen Your Music Live mug. And again, we got some fashionable colors. You got your browns and your blues. I basically chose all the darker colors so that it would look kind of cool there. But I think the black, there's something about the black. There's something about that. And then just with the little subtle Studio Live Today logo on the back there, I think that looks pretty solid. What do you think? Yeah? Sipping your gin and juice while watching Your Music Live, while drinking out of your Music Live Sharon is Karen official mug. I think that's kind of cool. We need to do something special here though, don't we? Because we need to celebrate the launch of Sharon is Karen. So why don't I jump in here to my Teespring? And let's give you a promo code. Let's give you 10% off because you've been here. You're here. You're cool people. I think we need to give you something here. So before you buy, if you've got your finger over the button there, before you actually buy, and I'll put this down in the description as well. But let's set up a promotion here. We'll do it for a little while. We'll give it like a week or two. Where are we? Tools and services promotions. So if you've never used Teespring, by the way, that's who I use to set things up here. You can do cool things like set up little promos, and we'll give you one here that will it'll have to be we'll make it Sharon. So the promo code will be capital Sharon in capitals. So all caps SHARON, and we'll give you a 10% discount. So we'll give you a discount and we'll make it a percentage and we'll give you 10% off. That way, wherever you are in the world, and we'll make this expire. We'll just leave it open for now. There you go. You get a 10% discount with Sharon, SHARON. I'm going to add that discount in there. We're going to make sure it's set. It is cool. So if you wanted to go over, you can do that. Once again, studiolivetoday.com/merch. It is down in the description as well. So if you missed out on that, then you can check it out down there. And you can pick up your very own Sharon is Karen t-shirt, mug, and the rest of the gear there too, because we got the old OG hoodie and the OG t-shirt, the OG mug as well, and the Brad special. He did this very cool Practice Makes Progress logo and t-shirt, so that one's available there still as well. And yeah, like I said, I made it slightly more costly and made it $25, just flat 25, because I wanted the premium t-shirts so that they will last you a longer time and you can represent your Sharon is Karen love. There you go. Yeah, Teespring or Spring. They're called Spring now. They used to be Teespring. All right, we are over the hour. So before I turn into a pumpkin, yeah, sorry, need stickers. If you have ideas for other merchandise, please include those. Please leave me a comment because I am building out the store and doing a bit of a refresh. So there's things like stickers and pint glasses. Yeah, that might be cool. Phone covers. That might be cool to have your iPhone with a Studio Live Today logo on the back. Yeah, maybe. So yeah, let me know if there's any other gear that you're looking for, any other merch. And I'll get it added in because I've been neglecting the merch store for a while, but we're gonna get it cracking. Yes, pieces of flair. How many pieces of Studio Live Today flair can you have? All right, folks. Thanks all for being here. Please, yeah, if you had fun here, hit like. Sharing is caring and Sharon is Karen. So do share this if you've got folks that you think may be interested, who are into their home recording, their mobile recording, and want to learn more about this sort of stuff. Don't forget the new merch, studiolivetoday.com/merch. Use Sharon, SHARON, at checkout. Save yourself 10% off on me. And until next time, please be kind to yourselves, be kind to others. Keep creating, and I'll see you real soon.